Have you ever felt like your payslip is written in some kind of secret code? Well, today, we're going to hand you the decoder ring for the entire Philippine tax system. We're going to break down its foundations so that the next time you see a deduction, you'll know exactly what's going on. Let's dive in.
We've all been there, right? Staring at a receipt, looking at a payslip, and just wondering, where do these numbers even come from? It feels like there's this giant, mysterious rule book hidden away somewhere. Well, today, we are opening that book. Okay, first things first. Tax law isn't just one single book. It's more like a library shelf with a very, very strict pecking order. You see the books on the top shelf? They call all the shots, and everyone and everything else has to fall in line. At the very, very top, you've got the Constitution. That's the supreme law of the land. Everything else has to play by its rules, no exceptions. Right below that, you have the big laws passed by Congress, like the tax code itself. Then come the tax treaties, which are agreements with other countries. And way down near the bottom, you find the day-to-day rules from the BIR and the court decisions that help interpret it all. And here is the golden rule. If you remember one thing about this hierarchy, make it this. A lower rule can never contradict a higher one. A BIR ruling can't go against the tax code, and no tax law can ever violate the Constitution. The top always wins, period. Okay, so we know where the rules come from. But how do we actually make sense of any given tax? For that, my friend, you need a decoder ring. And we've got one for you. 5 simple questions that will unlock any tax you ever come across. These are your 5 keys. What is being taxed? Who really ends up paying for it? How much is it? Why does this tax even exist? And where is it collected? Get these 5 questions down and you've basically got the whole puzzle figured out. Let's start with the what. So a tax can be on a person, like your cedula, which you basically pay just for existing in a community. Or it can be a tax on property, like the real property tax you pay on your house. Simple enough, right? Now for the who, and honestly, this is the big one, the one that really impacts your wallet, because it answers the question, who really pays? This is where we get into the absolutely crucial difference between direct and indirect taxes. A direct tax is pretty straightforward. You earn the income, you pay the tax on it. The burden is yours, and you can't pass it on. But an indirect tax, that one's a little sneaky. That 12% VAT on your morning coffee, the coffee shop is the one sending the money to the government, but they pass that cost right on over to you in the price. This whole process has a name. It's called shifting. The business is what's known as the statutory taxpayer, but you, the customer, you're the economic taxpayer. You're the one whose pocket the money actually comes from. It's how you end up paying taxes all the time without even realizing it. All right, let's move on to our third key. How much? This is all about the rate. Is it a flat percentage for everyone, or does it change based on how much you earn? Our income tax system in the Philippines is progressive. What that means is the more you earn, the higher your tax rate becomes. The whole thing is based on a pretty simple idea called the ability to pay principle. The thinking is, those who have more should contribute more. Now, here's a really important distinction. We do not have regressive tax rates where the rich would pay a lower percentage, but our tax system as a whole is often called regressive. Why? Well, it's because of all those indirect taxes we just talked about, like VAT. Think about it. That 12% VAT on essentials takes a much bigger bite out of a small budget than a large one. So what about that toll you pay on the expressway? Is that a tax? Well, not exactly. A tax is based on the government's inherent power. A toll, on the other hand, is just a fee for using a specific piece of property. And a special assessment? That's a charge for getting a direct benefit, like a brand new road right in front of your house. 3 different things, 3 different reasons. So, we have the rulebook and we have the keys to our decoder ring. But why does any of this actually matter? Well, because all these different classifications, direct versus indirect, progressive versus regressive, they all help us answer the most important question of all. Is our tax system fair? It really boils down to 2 huge ideas. First, uniformity. This just means that people in the same boat should be taxed at the same rate. 2 people earning the exact same salary should pay the exact same income tax. Then there's equity. That goes back to the ability to pay idea, making sure the entire burden is distributed fairly from top to bottom. That's it. Just 2, uniformity and equity. These are the twin pillars of a just and fair tax system. And it's a constant balancing act, right? Making sure the rules apply equally to everyone, while also making sure the burden is shared fairly across all levels of society.
So there you have it. You now have the tools. The next time you see a tax, whether it's on a receipt or your payslip, you'll know exactly how to break it down. You'll know what's really going on. And that brings us right back to the biggest question of all. Now that you have the framework, the decoder ring, you can look at our system and ask for yourself, does it strike the right balance? Is it truly fair? That's a question for all of us to think about. Thanks for tuning in.